What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another day in Nerd Culture. This is a show where we talk about games, films, and TV and whatever else I can find out interesting. Almost got it there. Oh well. I'm your host Dan, and I've also come to realise this is the only time I've ever actually said my name this whole thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's only dawned on me looking back. I've actually never said my name. Only last week when it came to the live panel in Shuricon, because I had to say I'm Dan and this is Dave. So I'm your host Dan.
I'm not Dave.
No, Dave's not here.
Why would you point at me and say I'm Dave?
Well, it's just
that's
symbolised.
That's some weird identity crisis now. Sorry, I'm Dave.
It was just like, I always act out whenever I'm talking at the past thing, like, it doesn't matter who's beside me. Just like, Dave was beside me, but it's irrelevant because I'm pointing at you.
Don't you dare gesture at me. How dare you?
I'll stare at
gestures. I'll stare at you.
I was smart because I'm staring at those two. So today is a new experiment again for the channel, for the videos I'm doing, because I haven't figured out the whole rigmarole I'm doing here except for the beginning. So today I'm joined by 3 individuals, because 2 of them was planned for, and the other guy just showed up the door and wanted to come in.
I kind of forced myself in, to be
fair.
fair.
So today we're joined by Paul.
Hey.
Tony.
Hello.
And first timer Conor.
What's up?
Why are you here, Conor?
Because I like comics, I like nerd culture, and I like talking about nerdy stuff, especially
Oh,
Star Wars.
Good enough.
That was a damn good introduction.
What
was your introduction?
Me, it's like, Tony, why are you here?
Right now, Conor is more qualified than anyone else who's showed up here.
I've done 5 of these, and I'm in your most
yes.
beautiful.
I also
have that line?
I have a degree in journalism.
No, you did not.
So yeah. I do have a degree in journalism.
I do not believe that.
I do. I did a 9 course. I do.
I do not believe you.
I will bring it in the next.
I do not believe you did 3 years of college for journalism.
I will bring it in.
Bring it in.
I will bring it in.
Well, I'm planning to be a journalist, so what's the point you can give me here, Conor?
Don't do fucking gay ass podcast for me. No.
Well, we'll find out next week if Conor really is a journalist.
Yeah, we will.
Tony,
yeah,
you'll be showing up again next week and next week after.
Maybe.
I've got a lot of ideas for you.
Okay.
Don't worry. Putting you on the spot, but there's a lot of ideas for you, Tony.
Okay.
A lot of shows to talk about. So
It's okay. I'm just going to slowly take over.
Hey,
what's up, everyone?
So today's main topic, as you've told from the title of the show, is, well, whatever the title says, but I'll get to it in a minute. For starters, we're going to have a quick talk about the Oscars. A lot of great things happened. People won awards. Other people didn't win awards. A film thought it won an award, but it didn't. But the main thing we're focusing here is the Academy Award-winning series, which is DC. Suicide Squad won an Oscar in hair and makeup. And
Which, in all fairness, fair play, well done.
Yeah,
not too bad.
It is, congratulations to
I
people
mean, it's not the first time a movie like that. Like Star Wars won an Oscar for its costume design as well.
You mean for being amazing?
Yeah, but the first one, Episode 4, I believe it won an Oscar for costume design.
I think it actually lost to someone else. Oh, no, wait.
I'm pretty sure one of them definitely did for costume.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of the Star Wars films in the series has won an Oscar in something.
I thought it was Episode 4. But
probably.
Yeah.
Look at this. The journalist brings facts. Brings facts to the podcast.
I'll bring you an article that I wrote in 1970. No.
Connor time traveled to prove his point.
Yes, I did, Paul.
I will say, though, a lot of, just on the Suicide Squad note of getting the best award for best makeup and... was it just makeup?
Makeup and hair.
Makeup and hair. I want to say it's like a lot of people or a lot of news outlets when they're posting this story, they post a picture because it lost. Obviously, one of the massive contenders that were in that category was Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm really surprised about that.
Beyond,
really?
And someone always puts a picture by picture comparison of this woman or this alien woman, and she got the massive heel, like almost like a snail shell, but it's all spiky on her head, and it's clear. Look, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
Next to a picture of Harley Quinn and the Joker. It didn't get the award for Harley Quinn and Joker makeup. It got it for the full body Killer Croc and full body El Diablo award. That was its main thing. That was its main kind of story points. As in, like, look at this entire man who's basically half crocodile, and this guy who's got skeleton tattoos all over his face. And it's got a girl with makeup and a guy with makeup on.
Well, not even that, but like Deadshot's like a whole like outfit was amazing. In all fairness, like it's one of the coolest outfits.
Yeah.
Which is one thing people don't talk about Suicide Squad. Aesthetically, it looked really cool. That's not why people don't like it.
Exactly.
But
actually, are you sure? Actually, because one of my mates was actually telling me that he read that like actually Suicide Squad won because of Joker and Harley. They didn't actually
doubt
focus.
it.
I think the article we read, like said, like Killer Croc was classified more as costume, not hair and makeup, because it was all prosthetic stuff.
Maybe.
Might be wrong.
Potentially.
I hope it's El Diablo and Killer Croc, because if it was Joke and Harley the reason they won, then that's bad.
Yeah, exactly. If it was that reason, Star Trek should have won the award. If it was Killer Croc and El Diablo, then Star Trek
well, not necessarily, because like you just said there, if you're picking out someone from Star Wars who has a snail head, that too should technically Star Trek should too be considered a costume.
Yeah.
So like in all fairness, even though like Harley Quinn's hair / makeup does look well, like for Harley Quinn. If there was a Harley Quinn in a hard gritty universe, I'd imagine to look like that.
Yeah.
Like in that style where she's the red and blue style, not the original.
The thing is as well, we're not exactly Oscar experts. We don't know what goes into.
I have seen a few Oscar nominations. I've seen Braveheart a couple of times. Okay,
we are experts. We all know that Batman v Superman should have won Best Picture. Damn it, should have won it. Instead,
did it get like any nominations?
No. We got the. What's the opposite of the Oscars again?
The Razzies.
It swept the Razzies.
Yes. No, that's actually a sad thing though, because come on, I understand the Razzies. Because me and Dan had a conversation about this off mic. It is meant to be more of a piss take, but Jack and Jill won those awards. Yeah. Are we really comparing Batman vs Superman to Jack and Jill? Because even though if you don't like it, it's still a really fun film. Still like a popcorn flick. Yeah. Like. You can sit down.
We're talking about Batman vs Superman.
Adam Sandler is amazing. But it's just
the
kind of
Ultimate Edition or the.
But you know what I mean, the Jack and Jill Ultimate Edition. Well,
oh, don't get me started.
There's 2 more hours of Adam Sandler playing 2 other characters. Sorry,
but no, it's just a bit irritating when people compare that movie to it, because I know we went on the movie and kind of slated Batman. No, Dan didn't watch it. Me and Tony enjoyed it, but it's just kind of like. Yeah. These movies shouldn't be compared to something like that as a joke or not a joke. Yeah. Did you want to stop for a particular reason?
No, just a laugh. I really screwed up the volume a bit.
Oh, apologies.
I think I kicked the table as well, accidentally.
Oh, we started smacking the table like I just know tomorrow. Hoping like.
Just slow it down a bit. It shouldn't be too bad.
We can always edit it in post.
But I thought they won it because of Enchantress. I thought they won it because Enchantress just looked pretty dope to me. And her brother.
What?
As a joke. As a joke, guys.
This is off camera. I'm going to do this motion. If no one knows what that is,
historically accurate.
That is the Enchantress dance I've just done for everybody, because it is gross.
What about her dope ass brother though?
That's CGI.
First of all, that would be her brother would be computer works. Yeah. But I will say, not when she's doing the weird hip dancing thing, but you know where she's all like grimy and grizzly and kind of like.
Isn't that
like in the Pentagon?
It's somewhat.
Is it a mixture of both?
Yeah, I think when
the smoke
the veil and the smoke is all thing, but I think most of her actual kind of grime and dirt and like broken headdress is actual like costume as well. So like I both agree and disagree with it and so on. If you get me, like
I suppose she wasn't up for an actress award, which I'm not saying she played it badly. Just the whole. Kind of.
Well, she shifted from a modelling career to an acting career, and she did kind of like I'm gesturing like a thumbs up. It's kind of like, you did okay.
Yeah,
you did good. Yeah. She did good for what she was given.
Yeah. Like my only real problem with Enchantress and Harley Quinn in that film is that because they kind of shoved in origins, they're both very successful women in their fields, and both do stupid things and then become villains. Yeah. And that's like the only thing that
women's rights.
Yeah.
No, I'll stop that because maybe Suicide Squad will be debate for another episode.
Sure.
Okay, we've given you enough, and now you have to come back for more. But so now Suicide Squad has an Emmy, Oscar. No, Emmy's TV.
Yes.
Oscar.
Same amount of Oscars as Leonardo DiCaprio.
And has more Oscars in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Which,
let's be honest, is sad.
Considering
as far as I'm aware, like Doctor Strange didn't get put up for anything. And
that should have won special effects.
I don't know. That was trippy as hell, and I loved it.
What actually won special effects?
I'm not going to say I know.
Saw it in 3D and I had a stroke. It's phenomenal.
No, you just walk in going like, so this is what high feels like. Must die.
Yeah. Jesus. Well then oh my god.
I can just imagine you in a room like, I can do that too.
Enchantress dance.
So we've got that whole rigmarole out of the way. Now to turn into the main topic of the show, which is about comics. So if people haven't noticed, there's been a lot of comic films coming out for the past couple of years, adapting different characters, different story arcs and whatnot. So they've been borrowing a lot of existing stories beyond for comics inside to put onto the big screen. There's been positives, been negatives, been ups and downs, but this is something that's not going to be stopping for a long period of time. So I brought Paul, Tony, and Conor showed up the last second. Glad to have you anyway.
Thanks
to
very
discuss what is the best way to actually adopt these comic book films. So we're going to start with, well, I'm going to actually take a back seat for most of this because I actually have no idea what I'm talking about. But these three do. You do know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, why not? I think one of the things you wanted to bring up was that, like, should you use like the kind of like the
existing stories,
and I think there's like yes and no to that.
Yep.
And there's many reasons how you can use the story and you cannot use the story. So I think one of the ways where you cannot use the existing story but would make a very successful film would be the Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the original series, because those storylines are very much Spider-Man, Peter Parker, but the origins are very different. From the point of view is that, like, he is a lot more of a spider than he is in, like, the comics.
Yes.
Because, like, you know, he has web. He has
coming out of his.
Yeah, he has it coming out of his wrists or whatever, or his palm, and kind of those aspects. So that's a good way of, like, changing a storyline to kind of be just different.
Yeah.
And then, like, a good way of keeping it more kind of original to the storyline could be various, like, iterations of the Batman series where it's like his parents die. He gains, like, he kind of grows up living this gruff life, lives in Gotham, which is kind of, crime ridden, and then he uses fear as kind of his main weapon to kind of fight through all that.
Mm-hmm.
If I think that would be the best kind of comparison for both kind of sides of the conversation.
Yeah. I would say though, like, I would like to see many a movie based on comic books that I've read. There's nothing more than I'd love to see X comic just done out on this screen. But how weird would it be if you were a director? How weird would it feel if you were a director and you were just handed this comic and just go, make this into a movie? And it's like, okay, well, what happens if I put my own spin? No, just make the movie. It'll be a huge, like, I like when directors take some liberties, but don't like when they start messing up completely and utterly, if that makes sense. But I can see why people change it. Again, going back to what Paul said about Spider-Man, and he has more spider tendencies than what he actually is in the comic. Yeah. I like that because and it was some guy behind a desk writing, going, well, how can I say that he's in high school? But then he invents these spider things. But I've never said in the previous script or in the previous scenes that he is an inventor.
Yeah,
and
especially in Spider-Man.
I'll just give him the spider glands, but it still goes with the movie, and it's like his own director's creative little spin on it that I like, and it doesn't destroy the movie or whatever. But I can see why he wanted to do that, if that makes sense.
Because especially in Spider-Man comics, is that in the comics, for the most part, Peter Parker's really intelligent. But because you're watching a real film with real people, you kind of like associate yourself more with the person. Yeah. So if Peter just kind of knew everything, I knew how to do everything, and he was just a bit like self-conscious, you'd be kind of like, it's kind of hard to see that because it's not on a piece of paper. I mean, you can like kind of, so whereas having him not being super intelligent, kind of struggling in school, it allows you to kind of be more with that character. That's why when you pick a more edgier film, like we'll say like the Dark Knight trilogy, just to stick with it, that's less believable because for the most part, you haven't followed that way of life. Whereas for Peter Parker, I know I wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider, but I went to school, I went to college, I found college hard, I had to get a job, and I had to juggle all these things. Jesus, if I had to be a superhero on top of that, you can kind of come, whereas if Peter Parker was the guy who had everything except for just kind of like the ability to talk to people, it'd be really hard to, I think, to believe in it as much as you can in the comics.
Actually, back in the point you made there, Tony, we'll get to you, Conor, don't worry. I have I want
to put my flag down, okay?
I have this in my head, I'm not going to forget. Actually, you brought up saying like the director was just handling comics, trying to adapt that as best they can, but that's annoying. But this is always seen when it comes to film adaptations of books, where you do see like there are films that try to stick as close as they can to material they're given, and others that don't. And a lot of people praise the directors who stick to material they're given and criticize the ones who don't. Where like take The Martian, for instance, that was like a near perfect adaptation of the book. The only way to make it better is just to make the film longer so they can actually squeeze in more material. And a bad adaptation is World War Z. Where in comics, though, you have this kind of mix. See, like for books, it has a wider spread because it's more mainstream. It's more easier for people to get involved with. But comics, it still has a niche market, and so you have a smaller audience who wants to see it get a perfect adaptation because it's smaller. kind of you have the likes of Marvel and DC take bigger risks because they're not annoying a large amount of people.
Well, I think also the thing that comic books kind of have handy when making movies is that a lot of the continuity of characters constantly change.
Oh yeah, that's
like because they just reboot their characters.
And the world, like today's world, the modern world changes as well. Like
exactly.
And also bringing back to your earlier point, I like it when directors take liberties. Like, I liked it when Sam Raimi did that whole, the Spider-Man web comes out of his it's from his biology. Like, I'd never read a Spider-Man comic up to that point, but that's the origin story that I grew up with, and I assume you have as well. And I'm kind of familiar with it now, and I liked it personally. I liked it when directors take their own liberties, especially in today's world when they have to. It has to apply to a big audience. Like the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, has to apply to a lot of people now.
Yeah,
they're fun movies. But I feel like
the Marvel ones are.
There's some fun DC.
No. I like the DC ones. I wouldn't call them fun.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, they have to.
Do you not find that real fun moment? You have Batman and Superman talking like she with you. I was like, I thought she was with you. Did you not find that funny?
I actually did. But I wouldn't put that down to the dialogue. Me and Tony had some brewskis.
We've already heard of this one before.
I haven't.
Well, you should be listening to the podcast, Conor. Just because you're not on it doesn't mean you don't have to listen to it.
I did listen. Which one did I listen to? The women in
gaming.
Women in gaming.
Thank you.
I think I gave it.
We're still playing Crash, by the way. We haven't played in a while.
No, we haven't played it since then.
But,
just wait till the remake comes out. Oh, someone will bring it to PS4.
I am not redoing half the crap I had to do.
No,
remember that
1, 2, and 3.
No, I'm not doing it. What? You can't tap.
Hey,
you've got to jump in. You've got to be a bit more visual.
I'm not sure what the thing is. I feel like I should be flashing my hand.
For everyone who can't see at home.
That's what we're doing, the
Gavin. For everyone who can't see at home, Conor is doing this swish motion with his arm.
It's almost like I'm throwing a Pokeball and a Beyblade and I'm grabbing it.
It's more like you're trying to, you're making sure that we don't choke on our ambitions.
Yeah, or your aspirations.
That's aspirations. That's it.
But bringing it back.
Beyblade. Sorry.
Bringing it back. I thought I said maybe from Wonderwall, and I was like, where's he going with this?
Where are you coming with Beyblades here?
You said Beyblades.
No, I said Beyblades.
Conor said Beyblades, and I literally, for the undertone of all that, was singing the Beyblade song.
And them two were like humming each other on.
Conor, go.
But back to topic. I will say I like when the directors take liberties, and I like when they create their own origin stories, because the medium of comics itself is something that you create, I get there is continuities, and I get you have to start your own origin stories, but I like the way that it's been applied to a larger audience, and more people can get in on it, because, when we're like in our rooms reading our comics, like my mom comes up to me and says like, oh, nice comic you got there, Conor, and they're trying to understand. I was like, ma, go away,
Well,
but then
when she sees you're not nice, you should just explain to them what. Maybe more people read comics. It's because people like you don't read comics.
When I have my magic cards out and they're trying to understand.
For the fact here, my dad reads a lot of Star Wars comics.
My dad, I do not have that luxury, but I like I like it when you can sit your mom down and say, let's watch this movie. She's like, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy. She's like, the what? The Guardians of the what? And she loves it, like, and all the kids will love it as well.
Does your mother not know what a galaxy is?
She doesn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Well, no one does in all fairness.
I know, but I like that they bring everyone else into it. Like, it's not its own little. Like, I get that it is its own little corner, but now it's bigger. I like it's a bigger community now.
There has been
bringing it to a bigger audience.
You're right, Conor. And also, like, you also have times when directors did take liberties, change the story, worked really well. Like for the Jack Nicholson Joker, the director at the time was that Tim Burton?
Yes.
Yeah. With Tim Burton in Batman 1989, he changed the origin where it was actually the Joker who killed Bruce Wayne's parents, and not some random thug. Or do we even know? Do we ever learn?
No, they never.
Winter?
Yeah, but they never. He's never significant. He's never like a significant character. But he's never meant to be. That's the point.
Yeah.
He is a random crime person.
Yeah. He's a blank slate.
Yeah.
But for the story they were trying to make for Batman 1989, it worked really well for what they were crafting, which was great. But the problem we have today, though, is like more people are trying to educate themselves in the comics and the arcs they had, like the story arcs they did beforehand, what these characters are. And you're now hearing more people complain about when they're not true to the source material, when they even change the smallest amount of things that people get really annoyed about it.
Well, that goes back to, I think, I want to say one of the first podcasts I was on. Don't want to plug myself, but like literally one of the first podcasts I was on.
Oh yeah, for the comics.
For the comic books. Yeah. I said, again, that's because obviously we're from such a small, tight-knit community that, you know, we'd be considered the nerds. And who are the nerds picked on? The nerds are always picked on. The nerds are always kind of segregated to their own corner.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're very looked down upon. So then when they're kind of cast into the massive... Like when there's a spotlight put on them, and there's something wrong with someone that I don't want to say confided in, but someone that we've grown up with, like, you know, you could have grown up watching Thor, or reading Thor, apologies, and then when someone goes like, yeah, this is my version of Thor, and then someone goes like, that's not my Thor.
Yeah.
My Thor doesn't love Natalie Portman or whatever, and this and that. My Thor travels by unicorns, not rainbows. And you know, and I think that's what some people get upset about, the kind of the diehard fans. And it's because, you know, it's a good and a bad thing that we're such a tight-knit community. You know, it's like, so you can always find interests in another person, but... You know,
it's good. It's good to start those conversations though. Like, my Thor's better, and this is why. I like that. Now I get it can get very heated, but I like that it sparks that, you know, interest. There's so much interest that we're arguing over it. Yeah, you know. Yeah. Well,
my Thor is better than your Thor. My
Thor doesn't even have a freaking Mjolnir.
Can't even say
linoleum.
My Thor's a woman.
Mjolnir.
But actually, for what you're saying, Tony, you also even see it as well when it comes to book adaptations, where you have like. Critics like kind of criticise, and also huge fans of books criticise when they change certain aspects, they don't correct it right, but that it seemed to be that's okay because it's such a mainstream thing to do. It also, critics have been doing it for so long, like that's fine, and books have such a mainstream appeal. But where comics, it's still the niche audience thing. It's still the problem where it's as the image of that guy in the basement who's got like a wall full of stuff, full of comics from issues 1 to whatever, and that's what the image of a lot of people think. It is a very bad stigma behind them, and because of that, you do have a lot of people going like, oh, people complaining, oh, why did you change this, why did you do that, and a lot of people going like, just forget about it, it's a film. Just get over it.
That, and they're trying to hit a mass market. Marvel would never make Doctor Strange because they know it'll impress Jeff down in his mother's basement. They want to take the entire USA and entertain them with a movie and walk away with buckets load of money. They don't want Jeff's $2. You know, they want everyone's money.
$2. Where are you buying those film tickets? $2. I want to go. You're seeing those films, Tony.
Also, you know what, Tony, you bring up a good point. I think one of the big obstacles with putting book to film and comics to film is the budget. You know, sometimes you can give like I don't know, what was it we were looking at a few minutes ago, Injustice, and just say, make this into a movie. I get that, you know, you should stick to it, and it's very good to stick to the source material because it's a big nod to the people who like it and love it and cherish it. But the guys upstairs, they're going to be looking at this saying, can we just apply this to a bigger audience and get more money out of it? They're not going to be looking at this, I want to keep this because it's a really good story. They want money out of it at the end of the day, and then they don't care about the source material unless Kevin Feige's on the board.
I think another thing, though, that people kind of forget is that when you're building a movie, you want to build a movie around characters, not stories.
Yes.
And something like Injustice takes over how many characters. Like, I'm currently reading Injustice Part 1, and I think in the first opening 10 pages, there's like 15 characters who all have their own unique roles. Yeah.
But if we were to adapt that to film directly to the film,
you're literally
I was to bring, I don't know, a girlfriend or whoever, someone who didn't know comics, and sat them down and said, we're going to watch this movie, and then Hawkgirl flies on screen. It's going to be like, who's that? And it's like, well, that's Hawkgirl. It's like, who's Hawkgirl? It's like, okay, well, she's an archaeologist that was, and you know, they all need their own individual stories. Yeah. And but if you did your own original movie. You know?
That's why the Avengers work so well, because they kind of built up such a large roster beforehand, and the only person they really had to introduce properly was Hawkeye, I believe. He was the only person who wasn't even named. No, she was in Iron Man, and then she was and she was pretty well established.
Hawkeye was in.
No, he was in it.
He was in Thor.
But he's not talked about, and all you see him is pick up the bow, and everyone's like, ah! But he actually never spoke really, Scarlet Witch, sorry, the
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, and then in Age of Ultron, you kind of you could introduce Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
They were introducing Winter Soldier,
but they weren't speaking. But this is what I'm saying. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. These are the new characters, but you didn't have to explain who the Avengers were. You didn't have to explain the 6-5. Like, you didn't have to mention Falcon. You didn't have to mention. I don't think Bucky makes. Who else is in it? Yeah, basically that's why it's so good. That's why it's a bit upsetting watching the Justice League movie, and they're just going like, here's a file, and I'm going to click on this, and now you're going to know everyone's bio, and it's just a bit like, oh, just calm it down. And that's kind of like one of the kind of bad parts about comic book films. It's kind of, it's okay to make these big superhero films. Everyone does want to see them, but it's about everyone else who doesn't know about them, and it's important to actually establish characters beforehand. Now,
but that's why that's why sometimes they get bad rep.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I know who the Flash is.
Yeah.
I know. Why are you sitting down explaining he's a forensic scientist? I know who he is. But again, the person beside me might not know who he is. You know, two rows back might know who he is.
And you don't want like a 2-hour film where the first hour is like, you know, a half an hour dedicated to each superhero's background story, because like especially for the people who actually know what's going on, you're like, oh wow, this whole first half of this film has just been origin story.
It's a balancing.
And I've read 5 different versions of how Cyborg became Cyborg, and this is just a 6th,
Exactly.
and it's like a mishmash of the 5 I've already read.
It's a balancing act that it's tricky. You're not gonna. Everyone's not gonna be happy. Someone is gonna dislike something. Another person will like something.
You could say that without any movie, though.
True.
Exactly.
Or any comic. For that.
When it comes to the comic film, doing the origin route is annoying the least amount of people. If you just throw in assuming the audience knows, then it's more. There's going to be more people who are not going to know, and then this solves the other problem. Say for people who want true adaptations for story arcs. The story arcs, say like Days of Future Past for X-Men, or like any big Avengers event or stuff like that, it builds on like hundreds of issues of like backstory, or not, maybe like tens. Like
no, hundreds, especially for Days of Future Past, hundreds. Like it's a real. That was like their complete retcon of like a massive storyline where eventually the X-Men lost.
Yeah, so like you have like tons of backstory they've been relied on to be building up to this moment, and even like Civil War and Civil War 2, where like these events but building up to something and has like a lot of backstory to rely on. When it comes to say doing like the Civil War film, they had to do like an Iron Man origin film, a Thor origin film, Captain America film, Avengers film to show they even joined up. More origins for like Ant-Man because he got part of the group, and Falcon introduced for another Captain America. Another Avengers film to show more members join, and now you could finally do a Civil War like film because you've established a team, you've established backstory, and now you're giving them a reason to actually break apart.
One of the very few films, and I think maybe this is wonder why sometimes you give out about DC rushing things. Maybe one of the reasons why is because there actually has been a film in the past that established multiple characters in one movie, and it was highly successful in my opinion. X-Men, the first one. But there's one really handy thing for the X-Men, and this is actually going to work very well for the Inhumans when they eventually get their own film in like 2020 or wherever it is. It's all based off mutant genes. So you don't have to turn around and give everyone their own individual storylines, because it's like, well, they're a mutant and they have X power, where you follow this.
By their power.
Yeah, exactly. So like Cyclops, okay, he shoots beams out of his eyes. Not going to get into it, and you just know that because he's a mutant.
Yeah, and he's into Jean Grey.
So is Wolverine. But then again, and then like they get that wrong in 3, and then they're like they mess up the Phoenix Force, and it's like, yeah, like how'd you mess that up? And then they fix it again, but then people weren't happy with it, because in like Days of Future Past, I know so many people who give out about the storyline about how it's Wolverine that gets sent back. But it's kind of like, but you got to remember, the people who've been watching this for 5 or so films, they can understand why Wolverine can be sent back in time, not someone else. Because if you just go, well, Wolverine can regenerate real quick, so his brain won't be fried. You're like, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. And now you don't need to give in this. You don't, because one of the annoying things about watching a film is when they just create a MacGuffin. When everyone knows about kryptonite, so if like Batman in the last or Superman in the last third act of Batman vs Superman just goes, oh, there's Doomsday, he's Kryptonian, but I have this kryptonite. Like if you just literally pulled it out at the last second and gone, here's this one thing we needed. So it was really good for them to go, well, we have a character who exists, we're not just going to bring in a character who just solves our problem, send him back. And I was like, that's one of the good ways to take an old storyline and completely turn it on its head, and but completely keep all the existing kind of ideologies of the movie. So Days of X-Men Future Past did both. It took both the storyline and it changed it, and I think it meshed it really well together.
It did do it really well.
Which was good, but that also kind of back on what the point I was trying to make, but also for the reason why they changed, because you need so much backstory, so much films just to build up certain events. You have executives going we've already spent $500 million just to build up to a story. We need to drop a few things along the way just to get here. And going we need to do this. Like we can't afford to because we missed these parts beforehand,
Exactly.
which these are relying on.
Yeah.
So we physically can't do it, and we're not gonna just like, oh yeah, this happened because something happened in the past. We didn't show you. It's like it just doesn't make sense. And so after doing so many amount of films, we have to take liberties, because if we don't take liberties, it would just be impossible to make a profit. It'd be just too expensive to make.
Yeah,
then
like
no one gets to see it.
Nowadays, an origin story for a comic book hero is an investment. Like
Yes.
you're investing
An
and
origin,
praying.
an origin and a setup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're investing for a larger universe like the MCU have.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing I want to say,
No.
because I'm new here, please.
Fine.
Plant my other flag. Is that comic book movies are character-driven stories, but yet again you have to include all this action, and I feel it's kind of difficult to translate it because from a comic book you can read it from someone's perspective, and I feel it's a lot easier. But on movie, you like trying to explain like, oh, Peter Parker, like he's fighting in this airport in Leipzig and he's against this giant guy who's Ant-Man, but now he's Giant Man, and now they did it really well, but it's difficult to translate, because me personally, you can disagree with me if you want, but I feel like comic book arcs overall are character driven. I feel like they're driven by their characters. You're invested in, like, you're invested in the Flash.
Well, yeah, no, 100%.
So it's difficult to translate that to the screen.
That's actually, I would disagree that it's hard to translate, because like I was saying about Spider-Man earlier, one of the things that people love about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is the fact that you can be that character. You can understand his troubles and his worries. You can understand how, like, as a dude, like when you're younger, it's hard to talk to, like, the really pretty girl, like, then you see your best friend, Kirsten Dunst. She was pretty back then. When I was 16, she was pretty. And then or your best friend getting with her, and it's like, well, you concentrated so much time, God damn it, and then he betrays you, and then you just want to punch him because he's James Franco. But that's another podcast.
And then you do jazz hands down the street.
I will defend that. That is
a good comic book adaptation.
But
You gotta do it, Harry.
But even think of like Wolverine. The whole X-Men storyline is Wolverine's path to find his memories. But then that is a character you can also feel sympathetic for, and it is character driven. But I don't think it's necessarily hard. Even like in Green Lantern, which is a bad film, and I bring it up because that's one example of a movie that just didn't get it right from a different point of view, which I think Tony might bring up. But it's like Hal Jordan, for the most part, you can understand his path. He's a hotshot. He's really good at what he does. Yep. They kind of like, he's worried about this world where technology is taking over, but he can prove that he's better than it. But then he's taken out of that world and he's thrown into these new environments, and he handles them the best a human who has never interacted with aliens can. And or even when he first interacts with them, who gives him his ring?
The red guys, the Guardians, I think they're called.
No. Abin Sur.
Yeah, so it's like even how he uses his bravery to like not run away. Here, I knew you'd know it. That's why I called you.
I just for people who can't see, I just like hooshed up my glasses that I don't actually wear. So I just.
Did you want my pick?
But that's a character. Whereas sure, he's arrogant and he knows he's good looking and all these kind of things. You can get behind that because it is a character. You get behind the character and you can experience that. It's like why you kind of always want to show some aspect of Batman's origin story, because for the most part Batman's a psychopath, but you can kind of start seeing things. I wouldn't say sympathize. He's nuts.
He is kind of insane.
I can just understand where he comes from.
This is a man who dresses a bat and just beats up people for a laugh.
You can see where he comes from.
And he's good at it.
Because they give that little origin
just
story.
Sometimes. And I know people get sick of the storyline, but like I think they did really well in Batman vs Superman, where I think it's literally 5 minutes. I don't even think it's more than that.
I think they did a good job of it as well.
3 minutes in the intro, if I want
exactly,
to say.
It's real quick. It's real, just kind of like, just so you know, this is this Batman, and this did happen to him.
Plus, there is that nice scene where like his mother's like pearl necklace gets like caught behind the bag and then it fires and it breaks. That's a really cool thing, and they all like
symbolism, metaphor.
That's what Zack Snyder was like. This is like
double take, smiley face. They're gonna like that one. So I can understand where sometimes it doesn't work. Like in Daredevil, it did not work. In Elektra, did not work. There is certain movies where it is hard to get behind it, but like Guardians, it is so easy to be Chris Pratt in that film. Star-Lord, it's so easy to kind of being a man out of his age. Like Captain America, you can totally understand how a man who would completely
Groot talk.
Oh yeah,
wants
like
to make his way in the universe.
Oh man, it's well actually I can't relate to Groot. He's a tree that I don't know
Who
what he's
wants to
saying.
save his friends at the end? Wouldn't you want to save your
You can
friends?
relate to a raccoon that talks.
Yeah, like
But I know during the movie he says, I didn't ask to be made. So
Yeah.
I felt like that was their play on like, oh, this guy didn't really want this. You know?
Well, he's a pissed off raccoon and he was drunk at the time. So
Yeah.
people say emotional stuff when they're drunk. But I so that's like, and I didn't mean to like barrage you with like
No,
stuff
it's
there,
okay,
but that would
it's
be my
okay.
opinion where character driven like kind of movies are better, because if you don't have people committed to the character, especially because a trick that a lot of films use is the fact that it's really hard to turn. You don't want like, you know, a narrator going, "This is Scott Summers. He's an X-Men who can shoot beams from his eyes.
But boy,
he's
do
really
things turn
cool."
upside down in the future.
Yeah, whereas if you're like, so it's really well done in
I wouldn't
X-Men.
mind if they done 80s style. I wouldn't mind.
Well,
too
sure,
much.
yeah, okay, sure, yeah, like Saved by the Bell at the start.
Wolverine.
yeah, like,
Late for
shing.
class.
But no, but so the way they do it is that they kind of like in X-Men, they take Wolverine. You are Wolverine from the point of view of the film.
Yeah.
He talks to the key characters, and you get the key information from him. So they kind of have to be character driven more than story driven.
Kind of building on your point there, Paul, but like you did mention there about Daredevil, how like the film adaptation just didn't work. But we've also seen now like Marvel and DC also doing TV adaptations of all the characters, and the TV version of Daredevil has been one of the best TV shows I've just seen around. I haven't read the comic of like the character, but seeing that really wanted me actually to look back and see how that character was done. And so we also now have the dilemma of, should we focus more on film adaptations or TV adaptations? Because for TV, lower budget, but you get say 12, 13 episodes, so you get a story done. It gives you more time to tell story arcs, more time to build characters, also build other characters the main heroes interact with, and you get maybe more satisfying kind of story and also character development for people who really want to see the stuff they've seen in comics actually being put on a screen of some sort, and like be faithful to the source material, and also portray a really great story and really great characters for people who haven't actually seen them before. So would you actually like to see the likes of Marvel DC try more of their characters on TV, give them actually more time to actually get it right?
I'm just going to give like kind of a really broad, so there's obviously exceptions to this broad thing, but it's like, so especially in Marvel, there's street level heroes and there's like cosmic heroes.
Yes.
Okay, so your Daredevils, your Luke Cages, and not really your Jessica Jones, but in her alias form, Jessica Jones. The reason why those work better in like a TV series is because the interactions they have are like less significant than cosmic heroes would have. Not to bash their stories or anything, but what they do could be considered less significant in a wider area. So that means there's a lot more kind of, because of their actions technically meaningless, that means there's kind of more you can do around it. Like there's not going to be a greater like kind of there's not going to be greater actions in the other end. What would you kind of describe it as?
An antagonizing
kind of.
antagonizing force?
It's just kind of like,
Is that what you're saying?
it's kind of more like a lot of, like, let's say from Man of Steel, Superman is a cosmic entity, and any kind of like, if you watch Lois and Clark's Adventures, it's old, it's from the 90s. A lot of the Superman stuff isn't about Superman, it's about Clark Kent.
Yeah.
That makes sense because he is just a journalist who works, and then sometimes he has to do superhero stuff, which is kind of like the Superman kind of stuff. But it's about his interactions with a girl he likes. But Man of Steel is about Superman becoming Superman, about saving the world when it actually comes. You can't really save the world in like 12 different weeks, you know what I mean? Like,
I will say that's exactly what's happening in the Flash TV show.
sure, that's...
But does it translate well?
No, because you're watching this 40-minute show of him, you know, saving the world, and like, it's just, he could do something incredible and something chaotic, yet then the next episode has to start with him then again, oh, it's just me, the Flash, running around the city, and it's just like, you know, but with Jessica Jones or with Daredevil, it's like, I have to stop this bad guy. I stop this bad guy. Next day, oh, this guy mugged someone. I have to stop this bad guy. But with the Flash, it's like, I have to save the world, and then he saves the world, and the next day it's like, I have to save the world. And then it just keeps going and it's keeps going. And the one thing I will say is like, I agree that I'd like to see more comic books adapted to TV, but again, to go on Paul's point, it has to be kind of a street level, or it has to, or there has to be a nearly, I want to say, a defined arc. Sometimes I have a feeling that the higher ups at CW, or for that do the Flash, Arrow, the Legends of Tomorrow, they're just literally rolling the dice every single episode, and I'm just like, one episode he's fighting a gorilla, the next he's stopping a bank robbery that's taken him 2 episodes to stop.
I think a good kind of show, Charmed, with the magical wishes. So that's kind of like, that's got a good story arc where kind of like it's about most of the time kind of their interactions with themselves, and then there's like an over kind of it's like an hour long, so there's like a villain that kind of like
ever present,
which will kind of like that will relate to their problems or whatever, and then like maybe midway through the season, I don't know, I haven't watched it in ages, to be honest. So midway through the season, there might be a greater villain, and then it will eventually, and then that villain might want to take over the world. But like Flash is part of the Justice League. He is one of the top 5 members. It's kind of like when you're watching his origin story as how he grows to like and they give the Speed Force now, right? In the show, the TV show, they've touched on the Speed Force.
Like he's even moved through different shows.
Like that's insane. Like that's really cool. Like him going into other shows, but like if you've read the comics and what he can do, it's laughable to think of him being in a TV show, because like the Speed Force was able to defeat a combination of Lex Luthor and Brainiac. What's this guy doing in 40 minutes? Whereas a good TV adaptation is like the streets kind of stuff, where it's kind of like everything kind of leads into each other, or like that, like, oh, Jessica Jones needs to find the Purple Man, and it's kind of like she's kind of like slowly piecing together. It's like this crime drama. I haven't watched Luke Cage.
It's a combination of a good character that you want. It's kind of a relatable one. So I will say from DC side of things, because there is a bit of a divide. Let's face it. But what was it? We keep saying Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Daredevil. I will say Arrow.
Yes.
It's like I'd like to see Arrow, but Daredevil, if that makes sense.
True.
I'd like to see that.
I would like to see Oliver McQueen with mustache.
The goatee.
Yes.
So I'd like to see that. They're kind of going off the wall with Arrow. And it's like, I get it, he is a comic book, but I'd like to see a bit grittier,
And just to work on another one that worked, Batman 66. Because Batman's kind of origins, all his villains were like bank robbers, and that's why it worked week in week out, because it was like the mayor ringing up Batman, the bank has been robbed and we don't know what to do, and it's like, that makes sense, because he's just being called up to do something normal, or he might have to work out something, and it's a riddle, like, you know what I mean, and that's kind of fun. Whereas if it was just kind of like, oh, Batman, the Joker has murdered 17 people and Harley Quinn is off blowing up a church, and you're just kind of like, is this going to resolve in an hour?
And when it does resolve in an hour, it seems very anticlimactic. Like, how did he stop all of this?
Also, even if they don't resolve it, it's like, like a comet is plummeting towards the Earth, and then it's like, next time on whatever, and then it's still coming. You're just like, come on.
Will Batman make it in time? Will Robin get out of that ditch? Next time.
I know they did that in Batman 66, but it was a bit cheesier, but so it kind of made more sense. But like that, it's kind of. I think it's the big divide between the cosmic and the street level. But one that kind of can both kind of come together, I think, is the X-Men movie TV series that they're trying to do. Because that would be kind of cool slice of life of X-Men. And you can always kind of like have a Cyclops or Storm kind of intercept then when something's too big. And it makes the story feel bigger, but you can also kind of remove the story then away. Whereas, like, I just think it would be silly if you were trying to watch, like, say, Arrow, and they had to bring in Ra's al Ghul as a major villain, because if someone like Doomsday came along, you're like,
he's not going to be able
that's just silly. Like, that's
what about
just silly.
His kryptonite tipped arrow? No.
Just tears the arrow out and just stabs it back in his face.
Or like he just stays at a distance, just keeps shooting. Like, one of these will eventually kill him.
Yeah, but he's not. Yeah, this is also the difference. It's like, the Green Arrow is like a good survivalist. It's like it's Hawkeye who's the good archer. You know what I mean? Like, because I always make this comparison. If Hawkeye and Green Arrow got into a fight, it would be one arrow shot by Hawkeye and win, because Hawkeye is the kind of guy who would have an arrow that detects green things and attacks them. Like that's Hawkeye has an arrow for everything. Green Arrow doesn't. He just happens to have a boxing glove.
Yeah. But I do feel like comics should translate very well to TV shows because when you think of a comic, you're thinking it's a bite-sized chunk. When you buy an issue, you're not expecting a full story arc. It's a continuation of a story arc, like in a TV show.
And that's what I will say though. It's like have a good overarching story. Like have issues 1 to 6. The issue 1 to 6 of the Flash. The Rogues are planning something weird. Flash doesn't know what's going on, and he's trying to piece it together. And then it culminates in the penultimate episode, and then the Flash defeats them because they're the Flash, and then they start the next season. That's okay. Rather than what they're doing now, which is episode by episode by episode by episode. They need overarching. Big thing. That's what I will say. But hey, I do agree with you. But just
6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons.
6 seasons in a movie.
A feature-length movie. Yeah, because that always works.
But I do like what Marvel are doing.
I do get what Tony and Paul, what two of you saying, also Conor as well. Certain heroes wouldn't work too well for a TV adaptation because you need like the budget, like so maybe Superman or who's a big Marvel hero?
Iron Man, Hulk, Thor.
The Guardians.
Guardians
would be so hard to do. Yeah. Well, then again, you could do like a battle game. Well, actually, Guardians probably be kind of a cool one to do because you have 5 different characters to explore. You have so many zany worlds. It could be this kind of like they could start it off. They could even do like a Red Dwarf style of comedy because Gamora and Drax are the only kind of dry shites, but you can like keep doing the sarcasm things with Drax, that probably could work, and Gamora could just be kind of the motherly figure, but who's just not motherly, but she just doesn't care for people's
She will look after you. She'll make you rest by knocking you out.
So for certain story arcs, you might be better for film or for TV. It's only like you're down to earth, like Daredevil. It's even Batman in certain circumstances will work very well in the TV show if they just limit his gadget capabilities and pick and choose his.
Or they could just do Batman, but then like in a movie he's there. He's like, oh, like it's Batman here. He's been doing loads of stuff and mentioned back to TV show and the blockbuster.
Actually, no, I don't agree with that. I would not like a Batman series.
You could turn into a real detective.
No. See, because think about it. Okay, because that's only if you could keep it strictly Batman, and someone like a company like the CW, they're gonna like make him like someone, or they're just gonna make it weird.
Can I pitch something there?
Yeah.
And they're sort of doing it with Gotham, but in my mind the comic book series is better. Yeah. It's called Gotham Central. Right? And it focuses entirely on this division within the Gotham Police Department. Yes. And they're basically they have to figure out a crime. And basically it's like the Scarecrow comes in, he gasses some guy, and they have to interrogate this gas guy, and they have to do this, and they have to do that, and they have to piece together, and they're hard detective work, and properly weeks and weeks trying to get the DA to sign things. And I'm pretty sure there's a courtroom scene as well where you're just reading a courtroom scene for a few pages, and there's and they go warrant granted, and he slams the thing, and it's just yes, okay, so they've got their warrant, they're gonna bust the crime, they break down the door, Gotham City freeze, and Batman is there and he's already solved the entire crime. and it's just that would be phenomenal over 2-3 episodes. That would just be
that'd be brilliant.
That'd be great. You go to Batman's leave it to me, and it's no, this guy's a criminal.
There was a rumor going around that there was going to be a Marvel film. So there's I can't remember the Marvel comic line, but it's basically the cleanup crew.
Yes.
They were going to do it in the style of The Office. So they'd be being interviewed, and it's just how do you feel about the Hulk destroying Manhattan? And they're just kind of it was really annoying, X amount of people with insurance forms and all this, and it'd be kind of
amazing,
right? But it's funny because I want to say it's Ant-Man is one of the characters who kind of stays there because he kind of explains, because he's so smart and he kind of knows him. Because they were Ant-Man was one of the original comic heroes, so he knows a lot about the laws around comic heroes, and he kind of guides them along. It's kind of their manager nearly. It's
the law division.
Not even the law division, but if they're what is this classed as? And he's I think this is classed as a subsection C or whatever. Is this the villain's fault or is this our fault? If I get thrown into a building by a villain, did I destroy the villain?
And then you have those turn to cameras where it's
pretty much
if they had Paul Rudd doing that, I think it would work really well.
That would work really
That
well.
would
Because
be
you could have like the comedic part, but when it comes to this, like he is a very serious man.
Well, no, like you don't even need Paul Rudd though, because you just like even think how funny the American Office is. Like I haven't watched much of the British Office. It's a bit not really my style of comedy. Then again, I hate cringe, so I don't even know why I watch the American Office. But like you could just imagine like Jim just like having to do everything the exact same, like pranking. Dwight. Like, but then instead of them doing like. What they're like a printer company
selling paper.
Yeah, they're just like sorting out insurance for superheroes, and it's just like, and then you could have like emergencies, like the X is like Thanos is blowing up Manhattan, and everyone's just like, but it's 5 o'clock. We're going home.
I'm on break.
But I'm going back to actually what Tony said. How it sounds like actually Flash and Arrow. It's nearly like this kind of like monster of the week type of style of episodes.
Yeah,
where everything's contained. Where I feel like you've seen all the Marvel stuff on Netflix, right? Or most of it, at least.
Yes, I've seen all of it. I think.
Where that is the overarching story, especially like for Daredevil and Jessica Jones, like it isn't the monster week where everything is just building up to this end point, which is great, and I feel like that's the best way you can do TV series, especially when it comes to comic book characters. Overarching story that goes for the whole season.
That's good.
You could have CW does Flash, right?
Yes.
Like I say, Monster Week, would work at times, but it does hit the stage where people just want more out of it.
Exactly.
And I say it sounds like people are hitting this now.
Yeah, Jessica Jones, I will say, or all those things, feels like a 10-hour movie cut into bite-sized chunks.
But that's
Flash.
fine.
And
it works brilliantly.
Works. Plus the way they're releasing it, they release all the episodes.
I'm 3 hours into that movie.
Flash is
Also, Iron Fist coming out as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited
for
for
that.
on Paddy's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so I know what I'm
Best
doing on Paddy's Day.
birthday present ever.
Also, one thing we've never mentioned: Walking Dead, excellent comic adapted to TV, brilliantly done.
sorry,
In my
what
is
opinion,
it?
I'm sorry.
Walking
I'm
Dead.
sorry.
So many people hate
Yeah.
that
I
TV show.
love it.
I couldn't even get through the first
I will
episode.
admit the first few seasons were difficult. But
There you go.
No, you
There's your
can't.
point.
You can't
they're
do
difficult
that.
to get through.
Like,
but I still enjoyed them. I'm a sucker for zombie.
I give
apocalypse, I will
everything
say.
that people suggest me 2 episodes. If it can't hook me, like the first episode is introducing characters, and if the second episode can't hook me in, I'm sorry.
See, Conor, I'd agree with you, but that was only until I started reading the comic, and then I realised what did they do to this show? It's as if they like I got that first compendium. It's as if they like just chopped up with a machete and burned, and all that was left was The Walking Dead and main character names. Like, brilliant,
But
we can
still,
do this.
The comics still made mistakes as well. Like, they, spoiler alert, chopped off Rick's hand, which Robert Kirkman admitted he wished he hadn't done, and he can now correct that wrong in the TV show, which is another thing we can talk about adapting it.
If he was just like just not like a scrub, he would have just kept his arm.
Okay, yeah, well that's difficult to translate.
Seems
yeah.
right. You know what I mean? Don't chop your arm off.
Well, tell that to the governor. Okay,
No,
let's see how he.
the main reason they didn't chop off Rick's arm off was because of money.
Yeah.
It would have
Sorry,
cost
Morty.
him too much.
Sorry, Morty. You gotta keep your arms, Morty.
But I will say, in these seasons now, they're trying to remain. They're getting back to the source material. I will say they are they brought in Ezekiel. They've been completely true to his adaptation, brilliantly so. I wouldn't say they're the best TV show out there. I personally love them.
Did you get the tiger yet?
He has a tiger, yeah. He started off with the tiger, like in the thing.
I
Yeah.
just want to know that because that tiger's amazing.
Negan, he's actually been doing very well, but like for people listening, I gotta act this out. But he's kind of always leaning back, like I don't know what you think, Rick. And it's kind of like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, brilliant actor. But why do you have to like lean back? It's like I don't know.
Well, when he played the comedian, he threw his back out. So
Yeah.
and then he got
That's
shot.
what he's from.
I didn't know that.
I knew we'd seen him before. I couldn't piece it together.
Then when he got shot as Bruce Wayne's dad in Batman vs Superman. What? He's Batman's dad in Batman.
It's been a long recovery. It's been a long recovery. But they're doing a lot better. Like I remember this reading it in the comics. Like little pig, let me in. It's Negan knocking on the gate with Lucille, and it's done exactly word for word, panel for panel onto the TV screen.
Actually, just as a quick note, I love how many people don't just call it a bat.
Yeah,
It's Lucille. It's
like
Lucille.
you know what I mean. It's not like Negan's bat, Lucille. Like no, it's like they will not they will never talk about it
when you have
otherwise.
a baseball bat wrapped around with barbed wire has a name. You call it by its name.
Yeah. But
What? It's a bat.
like even though you bring that
baseball
up, like in the TV
With
show,
tinfoil wrapped around it.
like he's doing the same thing he did in the comics. It's like he says, "This is Lucille." It's like you want to see this beautiful baseball bat? It's called Lucille. It's like no, this is Lucille. You know, he's doing it correctly. Yeah.
No, but I just mean,
More Glenn. Spoiler.
people in general.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
'cause,
people.
like it's just they don't go. like that's what I mean though. I get what you mean from the comic because that makes sense, but people don't say, oh, his weapon or his bat, like
his Lucille.
Then again, I suppose no one goes, oh, what's Batman's little throwy things? Usually the batarangs.
Now there are throwing daggers out of batarangs.
But I suppose if we go back to the whole main topic of the thing, it's like making a good comic book movie, or like I know we brought up The Walking Dead, the adaptation in general. You can see where The Walking Dead tried to do its own thing for the first few seasons, and everyone was like, "Oh, please don't do that." And then but now
they're going back to their roots.
They're sticking back to their roots. They're sticking back to now. They are taking some liberties.
Like Daryl was never in the comics, so that's something that just can't.
Some people are alive that aren't in
Carol,
the comics.
was dead long ago. Like Carol, what's her daughter? Sophia.
Yeah,
she's long dead.
Yeah, I know. Like, but people in the show, so they are kind of doing their own things. People are overlooking at it because the things that they're doing that correspond to what's in the comics, they're loving it. Like Negan takes the cake on this, or Negan takes the biscuit, or whatever. They're doing a really good job, but only because they're following the literally mirror images of the thing, and then the other bits that they're kind of floating, they're not too important. So it's kind of like,
Another thing I will say about adaptations of comic books, you notice like people like Kevin Feige, he loves. You can see in an interview, the guy loves Marvel. When I feel like if we sat him down right now, we could just tell he likes Marvel. He knows his stuff. But you have people like, now I'm not saying Zack Snyder, he wrote a few, didn't he? He wrote a few DC, didn't he? Yeah. But I feel like DC in particular, like again, Walking Dead have Robert Kirkman as an executive producer. I'm not sure if he directed a few episodes. I don't think so. But I feel like also Marvel have their own studios. Like, I hate to bring it away from comics and into the real world, but it's like, I feel like people,
it's too much reality.
we're not used to the real world.
But do you use the reality gem for that, or
no? I just lost it the other day.
Oh shit!
Only the
Where
time
did I
gem.
put that power gem?
I only had it
beside the time gem, and my gauntlet was over here, and now it's gone.
And then I'm like, fine, I'll do it myself.
I had the time gem 2 weeks from now, and I just don't know where it is.
But like people like DC, they don't have their own studio or anything like that, so it's more difficult. I don't think it's the comic books to film. I think it's the middleman, the Fox.
I'm going to not disagree. I'm going to give you kind of a side angle on it. It's not like the reason why I think Marvel films work more so than DC and Fox films. Well, Fox films are kind of fine in their own country. It's more like how it's the structure in which films are made. Mm-hmm. So in DC, it's the executives, and then there's directors. And then they make films. But in Marvel, they have directors, or they have the executives, and then they have Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
but he is literally like, it all funnels from him. Yeah. So when they bring in a director, he will talk to the director, and he goes, we have a chart. This is our chart. This is what we plan on doing. Are you on board? Yeah. But that doesn't happen over in DC. What happens in DC is like, okay, well, we want these movies.
Board of suits,
but we want these movies, and we want you to make them by this time. But there's no like kind of overall story arc. Like, we have an announcement for Cyborg and Flash. We have announcements for Shazam. We have an announcement for wasn't there one past that again?
Green Lantern,
yes. And we've there's been announcements. Yeah. But the only concrete thing out of all the movies I've just
Batman.
said, and a Batman.
Yeah,
but the only concrete thing out of all those things I said is that The Rock is going to play Black Adam. But like,
and Ben Affleck's still going to be back. Well, actually, even
but he's in Justice League, so that's kind of like why we'll tie it back from that. That's the only information you have. Whereas Marvel, I bet you, have names for directors. Yeah.
They released a trailer saying we started filming Infinity War.
Exactly, and they know what they want from all these films.
Say when they actually announced, this started say I think when Phase 3 started for films from like here to Infinity War, it's like say part 2.
No, I'm telling you, Kevin Feige Iron Man.
Yeah.
They had all the plans made.
Charts, and by the time they hit, the start of Phase 3, all the major details of everything else was already filled out.
The only thing that changes are world events.
Yeah.
So Captain America 2 is mainly about Hydra, which is a lot about Germany. Maybe if a certain cult group from Germany did re-rise, they might go, we'll change it from being based on a Nazi group, they might change it to something else so that they don't offend anyone with this. They're not trying to be a money grab. Yeah. Like how, the Tibetan monk is now not a Tibetan monk anymore. Now I know that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So, but if, for some reason something happened in like for that to change in current history or in current like kind of like current events, they might change that. That's the only thing I think they change. Yeah. It's like when they brought on your man to do Ant-Man.
Yes.
What's his name?
Oh, Edgar Wright.
Yeah, and he just didn't want to do it the way Marvel did, and they were like, we're not firing him or anything. He's just not going to be a part. Yeah. We don't agree on our things. But see, they're not saying that in DC. What they're saying in DC is they're just not saying anything, and that makes people speculate. Yeah. But that's why Marvel are hitting it so well, because they're like, we have this image. We are going to bring people in. If they don't follow the image, we're just going to let them go. And we're going to say they didn't agree with us on the way we want to show things. That's why it's successful, because everyone's on the same page, where they're not over there. Because like it's like with Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was unhappy. DC didn't make him happy. You know what I mean? Like,
so he said, no.
Yeah, like you know what I know what I mean? Like it's
and
just,
Marvel have their own studio to themselves. Yeah.
But see, I don't think
Warner Brothers, DC,
but I don't think that's
DC.
Because like, but Marvel is owned by Disney. So it's not just Marvel.
It's all down in the structure.
There's always different companies and all that. Like Warner Brothers have their subsidiary, which is DC. We just call it Warner Brothers because everyone knows what Warner Brothers is, and they're the money. I mean, we just don't call Marvel DC because or Marvel Disney because that sounds silly.
Yeah.
They say that the major factor they say to get like good adaptations is really how the structure all these films are made, because in the end like everyone's trying to make good stories and good films, and even if they went completely left field and just abandoned all the story arcs that's ever been done for comics and still made a great story with these characters, people would still go and watch and still enjoy it. Oh, yeah. You get like the diehards being really annoyed, but since it's all percentage, you can cast them to the side and just get the broad audience back in, and so it is really down to the structure of everything. Marvel just had it figured out by day one. They hammered it in, and well, not day one, but at the start,
I think
got
it in. They realized Iron Man
was
successful.
Yeah, like they got in their structure, their plan in quick, and so they weren't like Disney, like 10 like near the end and only just figuring out quick. Oh shit, we actually have to now make this ending. We have no way to go from point A to point B.
But the problem with DC is now that they're for some reason thinking that everyone wants a team up film when we don't. We don't want a team up film. I'm pretty sure nobody wants a Justice League movie like tomorrow. They would like one in the future. Yeah. But you know what? I'd love to see a Flash film. Like against contrary belief, I really like the Flash. I just think the Speed Force is a bit silly. Yeah. But I like the Flash.
Another
I think
big deterrent for me. Oh, sorry to cut across.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
But
how dare you? Go on.
But I feel like, I don't know if you guys understand, but I saw him in Batman vs Superman. He was good, but then I kind of saw the TV show and I was like, what, how many seasons are they in now? The TV show?
Flash.
Three.
And
that's 24.
24 episodes
per season. Yeah. For me, like personally, I'm just kind of like, Flash is a good guy and he looks great in the movie, but I'm like, then I have to like, should I even bother with it? It's confusing, like for people who don't know, the structure of like.
Wait, hold on. You've seen the TV show, so they've
seen the TV show.
You haven't seen the TV
I've never watched it. No. Okay. I know Flash, the character.
But then, so you're saying you're getting confused.
I'm getting confused as to whether I should bother watching the one that CW is putting on the TV.
When
or
they
should
actually
I just ignore them and just wait for a Flash movie?
Because chances are in the Flash movie they're going to explain that there's different like universes.
But I didn't know that. Like right now, this is my first.
But that's what I'm saying.
I know that happens in comics, but I didn't know that.
But that's what I'm saying. But like one of the things that is big, that's why they were able to have the crossovers, is that he jumps into different dimensions. So the thing is, both Flashes do exist because they're all linked, right? That is the thing. TV and movies are linked in DC, I believe.
No.
You see, exactly. You don't know.
The only reason even the only ones in TV, Flash and Arrow are connected, and I know Flash goes to Supergirl, but Supergirl isn't connected. Because they done
the invasion,
they done like interdimensional stuff.
Okay. I mean, just think about it. Think about you're someone who wants to get into the Flash, and then you're like, these two different continuities. Which one do I listen to? Which one do I? I can see. Again, I'm not saying it's a complete deterrent.
But that's more down to like DC's leadership, because in Marvel, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the exception. But in the Netflix stuff, they do hammer in like this is part of the overall.
Yeah, like in Daredevil.
It is though in this little X by X square meter city, but it is part of the overarching.
I'm also I don't think that would deter too many people, because at the end of the day, the Flash movie is only really 2 hours long. So if you're going to decide between like if you're going to watch either the Flash movie or the first episode of the Flash, and like if you like the first episode of the Flash, you're probably just going to keep watching it. Whereas if you like the movie, it doesn't matter.
Don't go see it again.
But it doesn't matter.
What if you're lazy? Then what?
Then you just pirate boat. From the computer that you're
Why
sitting
make me
at.
look like an idiot? You can download it.
You wouldn't download a bear.
You wouldn't.
Scientists are able to 3D print birds.
No, I'm telling you, Tony, it's a joke on the you wouldn't download a car.
But now we can 3D, but now we can. Yeah. We're 3D printing. I'll tell you, if I can 3D print a car, I'm gonna do it and just gonna see what happens, and it's gonna like explode. It's like, and this is why you don't 3D print a combustible engine.
Well, if you print a Batman mobile, are you adapting it?
Is it mobile? You mean
very
a
well?
Batmobile?
Bring it back.
Maybe not
to
the
conversation.
Batmobile, bro. Definitely claim when I'm building my
The
Batarangs.
tumbler.
It's like it's just an adaptation. Why do you try to 3D print a tumbler? That's going to cost a lot of money.
Wheels.
And does it come in black though?
Well,
No,
unless
it's
the
gonna come
tumbler's
in
this
grey.
size, then it's probably really cheap.
But in life size. That
No, like
works.
to drive.
Like that's essentially 3D printing a
the sound of
tank.
Well, yeah,
That's going to take a lot
it's a
of money.
tank. They literally say that.
Yes. So yeah, I think that'll be the end of it. I think we've gone through everything we need to say, unless anyone else wants to say anything.
Oh, I'm all good.
Except that guy there.
I do have one thing to say,
Dave walked in.
which
what?
I kind of wanted to say to Paul, but I forgot until now. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I remember Winter Soldier, excellent, probably one of the best Marvel movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yes.
I like the way that it's a movie with, like Paul said this to me many times, it's a spy movie with superheroes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh.
I don't know.
Cool.
That's
fine. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So that's a.
I know nerd stuff.
I'll take all the Paul praise.
Alright, so that's an end of another day in nerd culture. Thanks again, lads, for everyone who's joined me. Where can they find you? Oh wait, no, you don't create anything. Oh well. Well, you create music every now and again.
Yeah. No, I'm
started
not gonna
a blog
plug
the other
that.
Yeah. Well, I've started putting you in the description anyway. So,
Yay.
Well, if you make more music, I'll put you in.
I'm
Yeah, okay,
thinking
sure.
of making
I'll do
a
it.
Tumblr as well.
So if you want to see more of Conor, look in Irish News to see this.
Look for my journalism
No, just like,
diploma
you just,
that I'll bring in the next time.
No, if you want to see more, Conor, just look up like news stories from Ireland saying crazy man tries to build Batmobile arrested.
The Tumblr as well. I'll take
Tony, what do you have? Can you do anything? Do you do anything online? Do you contribute to the overall culture of the internet?
You can listen to my podcasts, Nerd After Dark.
I'll better be
A
honest.
nice nerd country.
No, stop stealing my stuff, Tony.
A night in nerd culture.
Well, if you do a podcast, I demand to be the first person on.
Yeah, absolutely no problem.
Grant.
I might.
Alright,
Anyway.
so as always, tune back in here in That Irish Podcaster, where every Sunday we post up a new episode of A Day in Nerd Culture, and every Wednesday/Thursday I post up a Talk from Dublin series, which it's not weekly, it's whenever I get material. So expect something to come in the next few weeks. So thanks again for everyone to listening.
No problem.
No problems.
Cheers.
Our pleasure.